Thanks for clicking on Wayne.com for this week's edition of Inside the Zone. Blake Sebring joining us with a Western Conference Finals preview. The only caveat is we do not know who the Komets will be playing. So normally we don't have that much information.
Boy, I'd really be good then, wouldn't I?
We have even,
if I could pull that one out.
If you're the Swami of the ECHL, it's either going to be Allen or Missouri. Both teams very good. I think fairly evenly
You take
matched.
the easy part of that. Yeah, thank you.
So let's just throw it out there. Missouri does trail in that series 3-2, but the next 2 games are going to be at home. We got Tuesday and Wednesday. If you had to pick who's going to win this series, which is what we do on this show.
Well, considering I've never seen Allen play, that was kind of tough, you know. You have Allen, the defending champion, with great goaltending in Riley Gill, and it's hard to believe they'd lose 3 games in a row, lose this series. But on the other hand, you've got Missouri, which lost only 7 games at home all year, and they have great goaltending too, and they might have figured something out last night in Game 5 in Allen to maybe flip the series. So they're both very similar teams. Both are bigger than what the Komets have faced so far. They're a little bit faster maybe, or just as fast as Cincinnati and Utah, but they're bigger. So this will be easily the Komets' toughest series so far.
So very similar in terms of the teams, no matter who they face. If you're the Komets, do you have a preference? Because you didn't play Allen in the regular season, and at least you played Missouri here. You split with your win being an overtime win at the Coliseum, although that, albeit, was in late February, and things have changed a lot since then. Do you have a preference if you're the Komets?
They're not going to say, and I don't know that, but here's what I would want. I would want to play Allen. I'd want to keep them on the road. I'd want to have home ice, and you know, maybe they're tired the first game. Maybe that's an advantage because you're resting. And although today's practice didn't look very restful, but you know, I mean, you're more rested and you're fresh and you don't have any injuries. I guess I'd go that way. I don't know. I mean, there is no obvious advantage to one or the other than, do you think you can go to Missouri and win 2 out of 3 possibly if you have to? That's a hard one.
Yeah, they've been really good at home, and their offense is ridiculous, at least in the regular season.
And they don't have Jesse Root anymore, who's out for the year with an injury, who was their best player.
When you take a look at having played Missouri before, is there much of an advantage in that? I know it was a couple of months ago, but at this point,
they had
not so
8
much.
guys there who weren't there. Missouri did. They had 8 guys in the AHL who weren't in the games then. So, I mean, look how much the Komets have changed in 2 months.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Look how much the Komets have changed in a month. You know, it's insane, you know. So, I mean, no, I don't think it makes a Hills Beans worth of difference that you faced them.
You said Komets practice was not restful this morning.
No, it was fun. It was. They had a good time. I mean, they were doing Canadians versus Americans just to keep a little bit of an edge going.
Sure.
And boy, the BS was flying. It was flying hard. You know.
That's why we can't mic that stuff up.
Right. It was fun to watch.
Should be a lot of bleeps, and we have FCC regulations, but because they played a 7-game series with Cincinnati in the first round, how valuable is that rest time when you go and sweep Utah? Yeah. I think people say, oh, sweep, they dominated them. Those games were close.
They were. Look at it this way, folks. They were blocking 25 shots a game. Eventually, that has to heal sometime. This is a perfect time for that to heal. I mean, those are not easy shots to just blow off and say, oh, that's just, it's not going to hurt. You know, I mean, it's going to hurt sometimes. And they played so many games. Their groins and their abdominals have got to be sore from all the stopping and starting and all that.
Well, I'm not going to test and check it out. I'm going to take your word for it.
You've got to relax and rest a little bit that way. You know, if they had to play tomorrow, they could, okay? But they'll be much better for it on Friday or Saturday.
So there's always the question, are you in the camp of rest is better, or because they've won 8 of their last 9, would you rather be hot? Could they be a little bit rusty?
Rest versus rust, and I don't believe in rust at this time of year. I really don't. I really don't. I mean, it's not like they're just going to sit back and relax and do nothing, you know, I mean, or they're just going to be so lethargic coming out Friday in the playoffs. This isn't the regular season Friday where you've had a whole week to do nothing. No, that's why practice was so good today. And I mean,
if you're Gary Graham, aside from getting healthy and, you know, still having that intensity around practice, what do you work on this week? Because almost everything in all facets of the game, they look, I don't want to oversell it, but they look really good against Utah, really solid.
You keep working on special teams. You work on face-offs. Those are the three big things. Their power play and penalty kill both got better as that series went on, and their face-offs got a lot better. They had to, though. They were awful. But they had to get better, and they did. So you keep working on those things.
If there's one guy you can pick out, I was trying to do this earlier. If there's one guy you can pick out that's playing really well for the Komets, A, who would it be? And B, can you really just pick one?
No, you can't. That's the thing. Everybody's been wondering about Mike Embach, and he hasn't scored a lot lately. Well, he's on the third line right now. He's the one energy line with Thomas and Belzile, and they've been fantastic. I mean, they've just been incredible. They're going against the other team's top line, and they've shut them down. I mean, we looked at that as that series. I mean, Krushelnyski and Sorrell really didn't do a thing, and that was their two leading scorers.
Sidlowski, 15 points, that leads everybody right now in the playoffs as far as the ECHL goes. Where have you seen his game grow? Because I felt like he had a different mentality heading into this year as opposed to last year. But when the playoffs have hit, man, he's been a scoring machine. He's got 8 goals already, tied for the league lead with Garrett Thompson as well.
Yeah, for Sid, the thing that I'm most impressed with is not the goals. Mm-hmm. He's been really aggressive when he's been in the right time, but it's how he's handled the puck. I mean, he's been like, in football, if they got a guy who's not a linebacker or a secondary guy, they call him the monster back. That's what Sid has been. He hasn't been a forward or a center per se or a defenseman. He's kind of been the glue for all of it. And he's been really good at moving the puck up on the power play and controlling the puck so everybody else can get set up in the zone because he can stick handle in a phone booth. He ain't going to get away from him. He's been great at back checking. I think was the biggest point of the whole series with Utah, is how many times did Utah guys come across the line, head up, looking for a shot or a pass, and somebody comes from behind and picks their pocket and goes the other way? Or how many times did that allow the defenseman to play up on them and just poke check the puck away so they couldn't do anything with it? How many rushes did they have that never developed because of that?
And that certainly goes into my next question because that helps Pat Nagel. How have you assessed his play? What's really been good?
Oh,
because
he's been awful.
The numbers, yeah.
No,
slightly over 2 goals a game.
The coolest thing about
he's been great.
Watching Pat was not so much what he's done that's been different, but man, is he just projecting confidence on out. It's like they get running around, okay, fine, face off, change it up, face off. He's got like total confidence in the guys that they're going to win the face off. And it's going to be fine. And he's just controlling the style of play, essentially. I mean, it got to the point where Utah was so desperate to get any shots on him, they were just going wide and letting fly. And it's like, well, that's easy. He can handle that, But even when it did get wound up and they got behind the net and they got, some action going, he was still calm. And I think that really projected to the rest of the team.
I think that plays into something else because at this point, over the last couple of years, when we're in the playoffs, one of the areas that we've talked about that has been a problem for the Komets have been the defensive pairings, the defensemen in the playoffs, how they played. They necessarily haven't played well in years past. It's been an issue. That you're saying that is very much opposite the case right now.
Oh, yeah, big time. And again, it goes back to after they lost the first 2 home games against Cincinnati, Gary mixed up all the pairings. And what that did was it forced everybody to play the system. You couldn't just go freelance because, I don't know what that guy's going to do per se. You just had to do what you were supposed to do and trust it, and it worked. And I think that's really paid off in this. And then, you're getting guys like, how many shots has Gabriel Beaupay blocked, or Justin Hamonic, or Will Weber, or Cody? It's amazing. I mean, they're just throwing themselves in front of the puck. And it really worked out because it allowed Southie to be free a little bit to roam because he knows Hamonic's not gonna. And Hamonic's going to be back. And how many 2-on-1s has he broken up in the playoffs? And it's just worked. It just worked. It's not how you would draw it up on paper necessarily, but it works. Everything fits.
Everybody's dinged up a little bit at this point in the season. I mean,
but
you're not
nobody's
100%
hurt.
healthy.
That's what's amazing.
That's what I was wondering. What is the health status? Because it seems like you couldn't really ask for a more healthy team. I don't want to jinx it, but for a more healthy team than the Komets are in terms of like major injuries or injuries that are going to be a problem going forward.
I think this is crazy. Most people are going to think I'm nuts, but I think one huge, huge advantage the Komets have is taking massage therapist Steve Grogg on the road for the playoffs. No other team does that. They might have a trainer who does some massage stuff, but they have separate athletic trainer in Zach Creighton and a massage therapist in Steve Grogg. And this is like Steve's 10th playoffs or something like that. He is such an old hand at this. He doesn't get flustered. He helps them loosen up, helps them sleep. You know, that is critical at this time of the year. And I think that's a big part of their health right now. They are healthy. It's unbelievable 2 rounds in to be this healthy.
When you look forward, whether it's Missouri or whether it's Allen, both those teams have had a lot of success. Is there one player that you look to step up in this next series in the Western Conference Finals? I know when we talked about playing Cincinnati, people think Mbach because of his Cincinnati ties and having played there before, and there's sort of extra,
well,
I don't know, pep in his step.
The obvious one is Shaftsma.
Okay.
For both teams, because he played for Allen, obviously, and then he also played with a lot of the guys in Missouri, because a lot of them are, Richard Matvichuk was the assistant in Allen, and some of those guys came over from Allen with him. So, yeah, there's kind of that going. I mean, he's probably that guy. But I tell you what, the way Sid is playing, you know, I mean, how do you stop him and Thompson? And how do you do that with Cheeker out there? You know, I mean, how do you, or Perlini, how do you stop those guys right now? I mean, if you do, that opens it up for the other lines, who are Bork and Cheek are just as good right now.
Yeah, Bork is playing great.
Yeah. And then you've got Kyle and Belzile and Mbach, who are just forechecking the daylights out of people. I mean, Utah couldn't get the puck out of the zone against those guys. You know, pick your poison kind of thing.
So I'm going to ask you, this is my final question. It's a loaded question.
Oh, gee, there's a shock.
I'm going to ask you, could the Komets, is this a Komets championship type team? Is this a team that could win the Kelly Cup?
It is, but so are the other 5 teams or whatever that are still playing too. You know, they're all thinking the same thing, okay? Yes, this team does have some of the ingredients of a championship team. They are tight. They have great goaltending. They are strong defensively. Their special teams have been amazing. The forwards are all back checking, okay? You have all those ingredients. So are the other guys. They all thinking the same thing right now. So you can't get overconfident. You can't get, it's okay to be excited. It's rotten to be expectant. Does that make sense? I mean, be excited about this team and be hopeful, but don't expect it, because the other guys are doing the same things. And what's the difference right now? We don't know, because we haven't seen them, and they haven't seen them play. They're all thinking the exact same things, but there are reasons to be excited. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me, I think.
I'm not trying to duck the question. I'm trying to be legitimate and honest about it.
I know. Well, everybody is left, especially in the Western Conference. The 3 teams that are left are 3 really good teams.
Yeah.
I think you say there's this tier of the 3 teams that are left, and then everybody else. I mean,
agree.
Not just because they're still playing, but I think going in,
Just
you would
looking
say,
at the
these are the teams
statistics,
to beat.
you know?
Yeah.
You know, Utah was the series. I said it would go short. I just believed it because I didn't think Utah matched up size-wise or statistical-wise. The next one's going to be a long one, no matter who it is. It's going to be 7 games.
Well, we are going to know who they're playing. They'll have already played by the time we talk next Monday on Inside the Zone, but we appreciate the time, Blake, and we'll see you next Monday right here on Wayne.com.